They said I was the cursed Omega, the wolfless disgrace, who couldn't shift, couldn't fight, with power, couldn't even sense the pack bonds that connected every other wolf alive. For 23 years, I was less than nothing in the Ironwood pack, a genetic mistake they kept hidden in the servants' quarters. But when the Alpha King arrived, and his ancient wolf, the most powerful beast in our world, dropped to its knees before me, everyone finally understood that some powers are too old to be seen, too vast to be contained in mere fur and fangs. The attic room reeks of mildew and forgotten things. Frost patterns spider across the single window, and I trace them with numb fingers, feeling the cold bite through the glass. Below, the main house blazes with warmth and light, preparing for tomorrow's feast. The sounds drift up: laughter, the clink of silverware being polished, the excited chatter about the Alpha King's visit. I am Thera, and I am nothing. No, that's not quite right. I am less than nothing. I am the absence of something, the Omega born without a wolf. The floorboards beneath my thin mattress are warped from years of rain that leaked through the roof. Master Aldrich, the pack's beta second, promised to fix it 3 winters ago. He lied, of course. Why waste resources on someone who can't even shift? I pull the moth-eaten shawl tighter around my shoulders and return to my task, mending the ceremonial tablecloths for tomorrow's grand feast. My fingers are steady despite the cold. Years of servitude have taught them to work without complaint, without trembling, without fail. 23 years. That's how long I've existed in the shadow of the Ironwood pack. Most wolves shift by 13, late bloomers by 15. By 18, the pack healer declared me officially void, a medical term that sounds as hollow as it makes me feel. An Omega without a wolf is like a bird without wings, a fish without gills. I am a contradiction that shouldn't exist. The door to my attic room creaks open without warning. Mira stands there, the beta's daughter, her silver wolf eyes gleaming with that particular brand of cruelty she reserves just for me. She's wearing a silk dress, the color of fresh blood, her dark hair pinned with golden clips that probably cost more than I've touched in my entire life. Still sewing? Void thing? She doesn't use my name anymore. Hasn't for years. How pathetic. Tomorrow, the Alpha King Magnus arrives with his entire northern court. Do you know what that means? I keep my eyes on my stitching. The house must be perfect. She laughs, sharp as breaking glass. No, fool. It means every wolf of age will be presented. Every wolf. She steps closer, her perfume jasmine and privilege making my empty stomach turn. Father has decided even you must attend. Can't have the Alpha King thinking we hide our pack members, even the defective ones. My needle stops mid-stitch. Don't look so terrified, Mira continues, examining her manicured nails. You'll stand in the back with the other servants? Just try not to embarrass us more than your very existence already does. The Alpha King's wolf is ancient. They say it can sense the power hierarchy from 100 yards away. He'll take one sniff of your void space and know exactly what you're worth. Nothing. The word hangs unspoken between us. After Mira leaves, I sit in the growing darkness, my fingers still clutching the needle. Powers. The memories always come at night, when the pack sleeps, and I'm left alone with the echoes of what I've lost, or rather, what I never had. I was 8 when my parents first took me to see Elder Cosmos, the pack's ancient healer. Every other pup had already begun showing signs, eyes flashing gold in anger, heightened senses, the first whispers of their wolf consciousness stirring within. But I remained stubbornly, devastatingly human. Give her time, Cosmos had said, though even then, I could smell the doubt on him. Yes, I could smell emotions, though no one believed me. Some wolves are shy. By 13, my parents' hope had curdled into shame. My father, Garrett, was a proud warrior wolf. My mother, Saurine, came from a long line of tracker wolves. Their daughter should have been strong, keen-sensed, valuable. Instead, they got me. The night of my 16th birthday, the absolute last chance for a wolf to emerge, the entire pack gathered in the ceremonial circle. The full moon hung bloated and silver above us. One by one, the other young wolves shifted, their bones cracking and reshaping, fur sprouting in magnificent displays of their inner power. When my turn came, I stood in the center of that circle for 3 hours. Nothing happened. The silence was suffocating. Then came the whispers, the nervous laughs, the pitying looks. My father turned away first. My mother lasted another minute before she too couldn't bear to watch. Alpha Hendrik, our pack leader, declared me Wolf Void, the first in our pack's history. Within a week, my parents requested reassignment to the Far Border Patrol. They left me behind with barely a goodbye, transferring guardianship to the pack house. I became property of the Ironwood Pack, neither family nor truly pack, just a responsibility to be managed. Master Aldrich moved me from my childhood room to the servants' quarters, then eventually to this attic, when even the servants complained about sharing space with something so unnatural. But here's what they never understood, what I've never told anyone, because who would believe the void thing? I may not have a wolf, but I have something else. Something that whispers in languages older than words, that makes me see threads of light connecting every living thing, that lets me feel the earth's heartbeat through my bare feet. Sometimes, in the deep of night, I hear it calling not a wolf's howl, but something deeper, older, like the universe clearing its throat. The pack's contempt was easier to bear when Finn was here. He was the blacksmith's son, kind where others were cruel. He'd sneak me extra bread, sit with me during pack gatherings when everyone else kept their distance. He even said once, with his crooked smile, that maybe I was meant for something different, not less. But Finn died 2 summers ago, challenged by a visiting alpha over some petty dispute. He lost. He died. And with him went the last person who saw me as more than a void. Now, tomorrow, I must stand before the Alpha King Magnus, the wolf who united the Northern Territories, whose beast form is said to be blessed by the moon goddess herself. They say his wolf's eyes can see through lies, through illusions, straight to the soul's truth. What truth will he see in me? An empty space where a wolf should be? Or will he see what I've always feared, that the whispers in the dark, the strange visions, the pull I feel toward something vast and ancient, are just symptoms of madness? Dawn comes too soon. The pack house erupts with activity before the sun fully crests the mountain peaks. I haven't slept, spending the night finishing the ceremonial tablecloths while trying to quiet the growing dread in my stomach. The Alpha King and his entourage will arrive by midday. Master Aldrich pounds on my door before entering. He never waits for permission. He's a thick-set man with perpetual disapproval etched into his features, his gray wolf status making him important enough to be cruel, but not important enough to be questioned. "You, void thing, up." He tosses a bundle of fabric at me. "You'll wear this." Alpha's orders every pack member in ceremonial dress, no exceptions. I unfold the bundle. It's a dress, if you can call it that. The Omega ceremonial gown, but a bastardized version made of rough gray cloth instead of the traditional white silk, with none of the intricate embroidery that marks one as a true pack member. It's designed to meet the letter of the law while making clear I'm not truly one of them. You'll stand with the servants during the presentation, But when the Alpha King's wolf emerges for the dominance display, you'll join the Omega line. Aldrich's lips curl with distaste. Try not to faint. The king's wolf presence has been known to send actual wolves into submission seizures. Moon knows what it'll do to an empty vessel like you. After he leaves, I hold the dress up to the weak morning light. The rough fabric scratches my palms. Through my window, I watch pack members rushing about below, stringing lights, setting up pavilions, preparing for greatness to walk among us. None of them look up. The attic might as well exist in another dimension. A soft knock interrupts my brooding, soft enough that I almost miss it. I open the door to find Sage, the cook's daughter. She's only 15, still bright-eyed despite pack life. She holds a covered tray, cost breakfast, she whispers, glancing nervously down the stairs. Mother says you need strength for today. Under the cloth is more food than I usually see. In 3 days, fresh bread, preserved meats, even a small pot of honey. My throat tightens. The cook, Marta, rarely acknowledges me, but sometimes, in small ways like this, she shows kindness. Tell her thank you, I manage. Sage nods but doesn't leave immediately. Thera? She uses my actual name. Another rarity. Is it true you've never felt your wolf? Not even a whisper? I should lie, give her the expected answer. Instead, I find myself saying, I feel something, just something different. Her young eyes widen with curiosity rather than fear. Maybe different isn't wrong. Maybe it's just different. Before I can respond, heavy footsteps on the stairs send her scurrying away. Beta Commander Aldrich appears again, this time with 2 guards. Change of plans, he announces. The Alpha King arrives within the hour, earlier than expected. You're to report to the main hall immediately. The presentation will begin as soon as his convoy enters our territory. My blood runs cold. But the ceremony isn't until the Alpha King does as he pleases. Aldrich snaps. Move, now, and Void Thing? His smile is all teeth. The king's advisor specifically requested every pack member be present for his wolf's assessment. Apparently, His Majesty is looking for something specific among the packs. Let's hope he doesn't look too closely at our embarrassment. The walk from the attic to the Great Hall is a descent through the pack's hierarchy. Each floor down brings more luxury, more warmth, more evidence of belonging I'll never have. I clutch the rough dress, still unchanged. There's no time now. The 4th floor houses the young unmated wolves, their excited chatter filling the hallway. They fall silent as I pass, pressing against walls as if my condition might be contagious. Someone whispers, "Why is the void going to the hall?" The 3rd floor belongs to mated pairs without pups. Here, the silence is different, heavy with mature disgust rather than young fear. A she-wolf I once played with as a child meets my eyes for a fraction of a second before turning away, her hand unconsciously moving to her pregnant belly, as if to protect her unborn pup from my wrongness. The 2nd floor is warrior territory. These wolves don't bother with subtlety. The Void Thing should be kept in the cellar during the king's visit. Growls, Rex, one of the senior fighters. What if he takes offense? Thinks we're trying to pass off defective goods? She's Alpha Hendrick's problem, his companion replies. Though I heard the northern packs drown void births. More merciful. My bare feet make no sound on the polished wooden stairs, but inside, each word lands like a physical blow. I've heard it all before, yet today, knowing I'll stand before the Alpha King himself, the shame burns fresher. The ground floor is chaos as pack members rush about in their finest clothes. the air thick with nervous energy and competing scents, anxiety, excitement, aggression, barely held in check. The great hall's massive doors stand open, and I can see inside to where they're arranging presentation lines by rank and age. A hand grabs my arm roughly. Mira again, now dressed in an even more elaborate gown, her mother Veronica beside her. "You can't go in looking like that," Veronica hisses. She's a beautiful woman with a cruel mouth, the beta's mate and unofficial arbiter of pack social standards. "You'll disgrace us all." Master Aldrich said to come immediately. "Then change here," Mira says, shoving me toward a storage alcove. "Quickly, the king's convoy has been spotted at the valley's edge." "Hem? No," Mira says, "and mine hein, sort of the king's convoy has been spotted at the valley's edge." I duck into the alcove, my hands shaking as I pull off my patched servant's dress and struggle into the ceremonial gown. The rough fabric scrapes against my skin like penance. When I emerge, Veronica circles me with a critical eye. "Hopeless," she declares. "But at least you look officially hopeless now. Stand at the very end of the Omega line, behind the elderly. Perhaps the king's attention won't reach that far." The great hall is the pack's pride, massive wooden beams carved with our history, stained glass windows depicting famous battles, a raised platform where the Alpha's throne sits. Today, additional chairs have been added for the visiting royalty. The space smells of beeswax, fresh rushes, and barely controlled panic. I take my place at the absolute end of the Omega line, behind Elder Hannah, who's nearly 90 and sleeping standing up. The other Omegas, all with their wolves, all properly bonded to the pack, stand straighter as I approach but don't acknowledge me otherwise. We're arranged by status. Alphas at the front, then betas, then Omegas. Within each group, we're further sorted by achievement and bloodline. I am the footnote at the end of the last sentence. A horn sounds from outside, long, clear, commanding. The Alpha King has arrived. Through the great windows I see them, a convoy of black wolves, each one massive, moving in perfect synchronization. But it's the one at the center that stops my heart. Even from here, even in wolf form, the Alpha King radiates power like a small sun. His fur is pure midnight, his form larger than seems possible, and when he lifts his great head, I swear he looks directly at me through the glass. And for the first time in my life, something inside me stirs in response. The great hall falls into absolute silence as the convoy enters our territory proper. Through the windows, we watch the magnificent procession shift from wolf to human form in perfect unison, a display of control that has several younger wolves whimpering in awe. The Alpha King Magnus is the last to change, and when he does, the very air seems to bow. He's not what I expected. Where our Alpha Hendrik is bulk and brawn, Magnus is lethal elegance. Tall, yes, but lean in the way of a blade, all dangerous purpose, with no wasted motion. His hair is black as his wolf's fur, falling past his shoulders, and when he moves, it's with a predator's economy. But it's his eyes that make my breath catch, pure silver, like moonlight trapped in ice. His traveling clothes are simple black leathers, and a cloak that seems to absorb light. No crown, no jewels, nothing to mark his status, except the invisible weight of power that makes every wolf in the hall want to bare their throat in submission. Even from my distant corner, I feel it a pressure like the ocean's depth, ancient and inexorable. Alpha Hendrik hurries forward as Magnus enters, bowing so low his forehead nearly touches the floor. "Your Majesty, the Ironwood Pack is honored beyond measure." Rise, Magnus says, and his voice. Moon preserve me. His voice is winter, wind, and mountain stone. It carries through the hall without effort, without raising in volume. Just pure command. I don't require groveling, Alpha Hendrik. I require truth. Our Alpha straightens, though he keeps his eyes respectfully lowered. Of course, Your Majesty, we've prepared. I'll assess your pack now. Magnus cuts him off with a slight gesture. My business in the Southern Territories is urgent. I see panic flash across Hendrik's face. All his elaborate plans for the feast, the entertainment, the careful orchestration to hide the pack's flaws useless. Magnus's advisors file in behind him. There are only 3, but each one radiates their own particular danger. A woman with white blonde hair and scars across her throat, a warrior. An elderly man whose eyes never stop moving, a strategist. And strangest of all, a young man who smells of herbs and something older, watching everything with an unsettling intensity, perhaps a healer or mystic. Your wolves will present by rank, the scarred woman announces. Alphas first. The king will... She stops mid-sentence. Magnus has gone completely still, his head tilted slightly as if listening to something none of us can hear. The silver in his eyes shifts, swirling like storm clouds. No, he says softly, but the word drops into the silence like a stone into still water. Something is different here. His gaze sweeps the hall, and I press myself further into the shadows behind Elder Hannah. But as his eyes move across the crowd, they slow, then stop. He's not looking at the alpha lines, not at the beta formations. He's looking toward the back, toward the omegas. Toward me. It's impossible. I'm hidden behind dozens of wolves, tucked into the dimmest corner of the hall. But those silver eyes narrow, focus, as if he can see through bodies and shadows directly to where I stand. Bring them all forward, he commands. Every wolf, every member of this pack. But Your Majesty, Hendrik stammers, the traditional order... Magnus finally looks at him, and our alpha physically staggers back. Did you not hear me, or are you questioning my command? No, Your Majesty, of course not. Hendrik's voice cracks. He gestures frantically. Everyone forward. Form a circle around His Majesty. Now! The organized lines dissolve into chaos as wolves scramble to obey. I try to stay back, to maintain distance, but the press of bodies pushes me inexorably forward. The omegas, being at the back, end up closest to the doors, while the alphas form the inner circle nearest Magnus. But he's not looking at the alphas. His attention is fixed on our section, and there's something unsettling in his expression, confusion mixed with hunger, recognition. Your Majesty, the elderly advisor murmurs. Perhaps we should proceed with the formal assessment. Quiet, Doran. Magnus says absently. He takes a step toward the Omega section. Then another. The alphas part before him like water. There's something. The crowd parts as Magnus moves closer to our section, and that's when Mira decides to seize her moment. She steps forward with perfect timing, executing a graceful curtsy that shows off her dress and figure to maximum effect. Your Majesty, she purrs. I'm Mira, daughter of Beta Commander Aldrich. We're so honored by your presence. Our Omega section is particularly eager to... She stops abruptly because Magnus hasn't even glanced at her. He's walked past as if she doesn't exist, still focused on something beyond her. The rejection is so complete, so public, that several wolves can't suppress their gasps. Mira's face flames red, her humiliation absolute. That's when her eyes find me, and I see the moment she decides to redirect her shame into cruelty. "Oh," she says loudly, pitched to Carrie. "Your Majesty, please forgive us. We should have warned you." At the very back there, we have an anomaly. Our pack's great shame. Magnus stops. Slowly, he turns to look at her, and Mira shrinks under that silver gaze but continues, desperate to regain some control. "Avoid Omega, Your Majesty. No wolf at all. We keep her out of charity, but if her presence offends you, show me," Magnus says quietly. The words hang in the air. Mira blinks, uncertain. The void?" Hendrik asks, his voice strangled. "Surely Your Majesty doesn't wish to waste time." "Show me." It's not a request. The crowd shifts, melts away, creating a direct path between Magnus and where I stand. There's nowhere to hide now. Every eye in the hall turns to me, some pitying, most contemptuous, all grateful it's not them under this scrutiny. "You?" Magnus says, and his voice hits me like a physical touch. "Come here." My legs won't move. Terror has locked every muscle, every joint. I am prey before the ultimate predator, and every instinct screams to stay still, to be overlooked, to survive by being nothing. "The void can't shift, Your Majesty," Aldrich explains hastily. "She has no wolf to compel. She's genetically damaged, a birth defect. We've kept records if you'd like to see the medical." "I didn't ask you," Magnus says, without looking at him. "Those silver eyes never leave me. I asked her." He takes another step closer, and that's when something impossible happens. Inside my chest, where everyone says there's only emptiness, something moves. Not a wolf, no. This is older, deeper. It's like the earth itself is shifting beneath my ribs, like stars are being born in my blood. My knees buckle not from fear, but from the sheer force of whatever is waking up inside me. Interesting. Magnus breathes, and for the first time, there's emotion in his voice. Raw, hungry fascination. "She's going to faint," someone whispers. "The void can't handle an alpha's presence." "Your Majesty," Hendrik interrupts desperately. "Perhaps we should remove her. She's not truly pack, has no wolf to present. This is a waste of your valuable..." Silence. Hammern. The command drops like a hammer. Hendrik's mouth snaps shut so hard his teeth click. Magnus crosses the remaining distance between us in 3 strides. Up close, he's even more overwhelming. Power radiates from him in waves that make my skin feel too tight. But beneath the weight of his presence, that strange something inside me is singing, reaching, pulling me toward him with a force I don't understand. "Your name," he demands softly. "Thara," I whisper. "Thara," he repeats, and my name in his mouth sounds like a prayer and a promise. "They say you have no wolf." I can only nod. He circles me slowly, and I feel his gaze like hands on my skin. The hall holds its breath. When he completes the circle and faces me again, his eyes are no longer silver. They're swirling with threads of gold, ancient symbols I almost recognize. "Tell me, Thara," he says, loud enough for all to hear. "Do you know what you are?" "Broken," I whisper, the word torn from years of conditioning. His laugh is dark, dangerous. "No, not broken, hidden." He turns to address the hall, his voice carrying absolute authority. "That this Omega will demonstrate the submission ritual." Now, the hall erupts in confused murmurs. The submission ritual is sacred. A wolf bears their essence to the alpha, showing absolute trust and vulnerability. It's impossible for someone without a wolf. "Your Majesty," Elder Cosmos creaks forward, leaning heavily on his staff. The child cannot perform the ritual. She has no wolf to submit. It would be like asking a human to fly. Magnus's lips curve into something that isn't quite a smile. Then let us see her fail. Unless. He turns that predator gaze on Hendrik. You object to my request? It's a trap. Everyone knows it. To refuse would be an insult to the Alpha King. To agree means publicly displaying my deficiency, humiliating the pack. Hendrik chooses humiliation over insult. Thara, he commands coldly, attempt the submission ritual for His Majesty. I stand frozen in the circle of watching wolves. The submission ritual requires a wolf to emerge partially showing their eyes, releasing their scent, baring their spiritual throat to the dominant wolf. I have none of these things. I am empty, void, nothing, except for that strange stirring inside me that grows stronger with each second under Magnus's gaze. The whispers I hear in the dark. The threads of light only I can see. The ancient something that has always set me apart, marked me as wrong. My grandmother, before she died when I was very young, once told me something I'd forgotten until now. Not all power walks on 4 legs, little star. Some magics are older than the moon's first blessing. I close my eyes, blocking out the hostile faces, the mockery I know is coming. Instead, I focus on that deep, strange well inside me, the place where a wolf should be but isn't, the place where something else lives. Show them. A voice whispers not in my mind but in my bones, my blood, the very marrow of me. Show him what they were too blind to see. I don't kneel as the ritual demands. Instead, I stand straighter, and I do something I've never dared before I stop hiding it. The thing inside me, the otherness, the ancient power that has always marked me as different, I let it rise. The air changes first. It becomes heavy, thick with the taste of storms and deep earth. The temperature drops 10 degrees in a heartbeat. Frost spreads across the windows in spiraling patterns that look almost like writing. My skin begins to glow not with the golden light of wolf transformation, but with something silver white, like moonlight through water. The rough gray dress flows around me as if I'm underwater, and my hair, always limp and dull, rises slightly, floating in the invisible current of power. But it's what happens to my eyes that makes the pack gasp in unison. They don't turn wolf gold or alpha red. They become endless, dark as the void between stars, with pinpricks of light scattered through them like distant galaxies. Power. Looking into them is like staring into the night sky and realizing how infinite and ancient the universe truly is. Impossible. Someone breathes. I'm not transforming into a wolf. I'm becoming something else. Something that existed before wolves, before the moon goddess's blessing, before the first pack was formed. The knowledge flows into me like remembering a dream. I am not void of a wolf. I am the vessel of something far older. Magnus takes a step back, not in fear but in recognition. His own power rises to meet mine. His wolf emerging, partially eyes going full silver, canines extending. But then something unprecedented happens. His wolf, the great beast that conquered the northern territories, that has never bowed to anyone or anything, it stops. Those silver eyes widen. And slowly, deliberately, the Alpha King Magnus drops to one knee. "My queen," he breathes, and his voice carries such reverence that several wolves whimper. "The Luna Primordial, you're real." The silence that follows is deafening. Every wolf in the hall is frozen, unable to process what they're seeing. The Alpha King, the most powerful wolf in 500 years, is kneeling before their void Omega. My power fills the great hall like water filling a basin, spilling into every corner, touching every wolf present. And where it touches, impossible things happen. Elder Hana's clouded eyes clear for the first time in a decade. A young beta, with a scarred throat from a childhood injury, gasps as the old wound simply fades. The aggressive tension that always simmers between alphas dissolves like morning mist. For this moment, in the presence of something ancient and pure, the pack experiences true peace. But I'm not controlling it. This power is older than intention, older than thought. It simply is, and I am merely its vessel. Through my galaxy eyes, I see the threads I've always seen, but now they're blazing with light connecting every wolf here, showing the truth of pack bonds. And at the center of the web, burning brightest of all, is the thread between Magnus and me. It's not a normal mate bond, it's something deeper, older, two halves of the same cosmic force, separated at the dawn of time and finally reunited. The old stories. Elder Cosmos whispers, tears streaming down his weathered face. The Luna Primordial, the first mother. The one who existed before the moon goddess, who gave birth to the moon itself. We thought it was myth. Magnus rises slowly, his movements careful, reverent. Not myth, hidden, protected. His eyes never leave mine. Your bloodline, they knew, didn't they? They suppressed your wolf to keep the primordial essence contained. If you had shifted, if your wolf had emerged, it would have been destroyed by the power you carry. The knowledge resonates as truth in my bones. My parents' hasty departure, my grandmother's cryptic words, the way older wolves sometimes looked at me with fear rather than contempt, pieces of a puzzle I never knew existed. She's not a void, Mira stammers, backing away. She's power. She's the reason I was truly searching the packs, Magnus says, his voice carrying to every corner of the hall. The dream started 3 moons ago. A voice calling through time itself, seeking its other half. Every territory I've visited, every pack I've assessed, I was searching for her. He extends his hand to me, palm up, and I see it trembling slightly. The Alpha King, who has never shown weakness, is trembling before me. Thara, he says, and my name is both question and answer. Will you accept what you are? I look at his outstretched hand, then at the pack that tormented me for 23 years. They're all on their knees now, not by command, but by instinct. Even Hendrik, even Aldrich, even cruel Mira. In the presence of the Luna Primordial, every wolf knows its place. But I don't want their submission. I never wanted power or revenge. I only wanted to belong. I take Magnus's hand. The moment our skin touches, the world explodes with light. Our powers merge, dance, spiral around each other in a cosmic ballet that makes the very foundations of the hall tremble. His wolf emerges fully, not in body but in spirit, a massive shadow form of teeth and fur and primal power. And beside it, matching it in size and presence, stands my truth. Not a wolf. A being of starlight and void, shaped vaguely like a wolf but made of cosmos, galaxies for eyes, nebulae for fur, supernovas for fangs. The Luna Primordial, the first mother, the one who dreams reality into being. Magnus's wolf doesn't bow this time. Instead, it touches its muzzle to my cosmic being's cheek in a gesture of profound intimacy, recognition, and union. The Alpha and the Primordial, the sword and the shield, the king and the cosmic mother. By the old laws, Magnus announces, his voice ringing with power, witnessed by all present, I claim Thara as my mate, my equal, my Luna Primordial. Any who challenge this claim challenge me. Any who have harmed her have harmed me. Any debt of cruelty will be paid in full. His eyes find Hendrik, Aldrich, Mira, each wolf who made my life misery. They shrink under his gaze, knowing their fates now rest in my hands. But I'm not looking at those who wronged me. My cosmic eyes are fixed on Magnus, seeing him truly for the first time. Through the threads of light, I can perceive his past, a young boy forced to become king after his entire family was slaughtered. Centuries of loneliness, the weight of power that isolated him from all connection. He's been as alone as I have, just wearing a crown while he suffered. You've been searching for so long, I whisper, and my voice carries harmonics of distant stars. 500 years, he confirms, his silver eyes bright with unshed tears. The shaman said my mate would be born when the world needed her most, that she would carry the old power, the first magic, that together we would either save or doom all wolves. Your Majesty, his scarred advisor Valeria, my power supplies her name steps forward carefully. The implications of this, if she truly is the Luna primordial, then everything changes. Magnus finishes the pack structures, the hierarchies, the very nature of what we are. He looks at me, and there's a question in his eyes. The old texts say the primordial can awaken the true wolves, not the beast forms we know, but the original spirits. The question is whether the world is ready. I feel the power flowing through me, ancient knowledge, unfurling like scrolls in my mind. The corruption in the eastern packs, the madness, spreading through bloodlines, the wolves going feral, it's because they've lost connection to the source. Magnus nods grimly. Without the primordial's presence, the blessing has been degrading for generations. Wolves are becoming more beast, less spirit. But she can fix it? Elder Cosmos asks, hope naked in his voice. The void, I mean, the Luna primordial can heal the corruption? Not heal, I say, the knowledge flowing through me. Transform, evolve. Return wolves to what they were meant to be before fear made them small. I look at the kneeling pack. But it must be chosen, not forced. Free will is the first law. Hendrik finally finds his voice, though it trembles. Chosen? Your Majesty? He doesn't know how to address me. We didn't know. Had we known what you were, you would have treated me with kindness? I ask softly. Would have shown me respect, love, acceptance? Where he has no answer. None of them do. You showed me who you truly are when you thought I was nothing. I continue. That truth doesn't change because I'm something else. Magnus squeezes my hand, and I feel his rage at them through our new bond, a killing rage, barely contained. They hurt his mate for 23 years. His wolf wants blood. But through our connection, I sent him peace, understanding. They were afraid, I tell him through the bond. Fear makes monsters of us all, Petey. They tortured you, he responds, his mental voice a growl, and made me strong, made me who I needed to become to find you. Aloud! Magnus addresses the pack, his voice carrying lethal promise. The Ironwood pack will be dissolved. Your territory will be redistributed. You have failed the most sacred duty to protect and nurture all pack members. Panic ripples through the crowd. Without a pack, wolves become rogues, lost, eventually feral. It's a death sentence of a different kind. However, he continues, my mate will decide your individual fates. Her word is law, as binding as mine. All eyes turn to me, hundreds of wolves who mocked me, ignored me, hurt me, now waiting for me to decide their futures. The power is intoxicating. I could destroy them with a word. But that's not who I am. It's never been who I am, Mira. I call softly. She flinches, crawling forward on her knees, her beautiful dress ruined against the floor. Please, she whispers. Please, I didn't know. Stand up, I command gently. She rises shakily, tears streaming down her face, her terror palpable. You have a choice. I tell her, tell all of them. Accept the transformation. Let me awaken your true wolf, the spirit before the beast, or leave now as you are. Find another pack willing to take you in your current form. Transform? Mira's voice cracks. Into what? I extend my hand, palm up, offering rather than commanding. Into what you were meant to be before centuries of fear and hierarchy twisted the moon's blessing. She stares at my hand like it might burn her. Around us, the pack holds its breath. I'll go first. The voice surprises everyone, including me. It's Sage, the cook's daughter, pushing through the crowd of adults. Her mother tries to grab her, but the girl evades her, stepping forward with the fearlessness of youth. Sage, no, Marta cries. You don't know what you're doing. I know she was kind when no one else was, Sage says simply, looking at me with those bright, trusting eyes. Even when we were cruel, she never was. That matters more than power. Before anyone can stop her, she takes my hand. The transformation is instantaneous but gentle. Light flows from my touch into her, and her wolf emerges not in a violent burst of breaking bones and tearing flesh, but like a flower blooming in fast motion. Her wolf is silver white, smaller than traditional wolves but luminous, with eyes that hold intelligence beyond animal instinct. Most remarkably, she shifts back immediately, effortlessly, with no exhaustion. I can feel everything. She breathes in wonder. Every plant, every stone, every heartbeat in this room. Is this what you've always felt? Every story, every plant. She began with power and dominance. Every plant. Is this what you've always felt? I nod, smiling despite everything. That breaks the dam. The elderly Omega Hannah steps forward next, then a young Beta who is always quiet, then another. One by one, those who showed me even the smallest kindness over the years come forward. Their transformations vary. Some wolves become larger, some smaller. All become more ethereal, more connected to the spiritual realm than the physical. But the majority hold back, including Hendrik, Aldrich, and Mira. They watch with a mixture of hunger and terror as their packmates transform into something beyond traditional wolves. Those who accept the transformation will come with us, Magnus announces. The Northern Territory will welcome you as the first of the new pack structure, one based on harmony, not hierarchy. And the rest of us? Hendrik asks, his voice hollow. You'll have 3 days to vacate this territory, Magnus says coldly. Seek acceptance elsewhere, if you can find it. Word will spread of what happened here, of how you treated the Luna Primordial. Whether other packs will accept you, knowing that, well, that's their choice. The hall divides literally transformed wolves, moving to stand behind Magnus and me, the others clustering together in confusion and fear. The irony isn't lost on me. They who valued pack above all else are now the outcasts, while I, the eternal outsider, am the center of a new beginning. But then Mira does something unexpected. She drops to her knees again, but this time, it's different. This isn't performative submission, she's genuinely broken. I was afraid, she sobs. My whole life I was taught that different meant dangerous, That void meant less than. My father said if I wasn't strong, wasn't cruel to those beneath me, I'd be cast out too. She looks up at me, mascara streaming down her cheeks. I was so afraid of becoming you that I became something worse. Someone who could hurt another person just to feel powerful. The honesty in her voice resonates through our threads of connection. She's telling the truth. Fear is not evil, I tell her gently. What we do with fear that defines us. Magnus's hand tightens on mine, and through our bond, I feel his conflict. His wolf wants justice for my suffering. But he's letting me lead, letting me choose. 1 week, I tell the untransformed. You have 1 week to decide. Return here in 7 days, and I'll still offer the transformation to any who truly want it. But know this, it's not just about receiving power. It's about releasing the old ways, the cruelty, the hierarchy based on domination. Can you do that? Some nod eagerly. Others, like Aldrich, look physically ill at the thought. Magnus's advisor Doran clears his throat. Your Majesty, we should depart. The corruption in the Eastern Pax worsens daily. Now that we've found the Luna Primordial, we go where my mate chooses. Magnus interrupts. Thara? It's surreal. Having choices, having power, having him look at me like I'm precious beyond measure. 6 months later, I stand on the balcony of the northern citadel, watching the sun set over a transformed landscape. The ancient fortress, once all stone and severity, now blooms with life. Gardens cascade down the mountainside, my touch awakening flora that had been dormant for centuries. The rigid military structure has given way to something more organic, more alive. Magnus finds me there, as he does every evening. His arms wrap around me from behind, and I lean into his warmth. Through our bond, I feel his contentment, a peace he's never known in 500 years of existence. The Eastern Pax have sent another delegation, he murmurs into my hair, begging for your intervention. The corruption has taken 3 more villages. I nod, having felt the disturbance through the cosmic threads that connect all wolves. We'll go tomorrow. But Magnus, I know, he says softly. Not everyone can be saved. Not everyone wants to be. It's been the hardest lesson. My power can transform, can evolve, can heal, but only those who choose it. The corrupted wolves in the East, driven mad by centuries of degraded blessing, often attack rather than accept help. We've had to fight, to kill, and each death weighs on me even when necessary. My Luna is too gentle for this harsh world, Magnus says, but there's pride in his voice. Your Luna is learning that gentleness and strength aren't opposites. I correct, turning in his arms. They're partners, like us. He kisses me then, and I feel our energies merge his silver moon-blessed power with my cosmic primordial essence. Together, we're rewriting what it means to be wolf, to be pack, to be whole. A knock at the door interrupts us. Valeria enters, bowing slightly, not the prostration of before, but genuine respect. Forgive the intrusion, she says. We have visitors. From Ironwood. My stomach tightens. Magnus growls low in his throat. Who? I ask. Mira. And surprisingly, her father, Aldrich. They've been waiting at the gates for 3 hours, refusing to leave until they see you. I share a look with Magnus. It's been 6 months since we left Ironwood. Those who didn't transform in that first week scattered to other packs or became rogues. Why return now? Bring them to the receiving chamber? I decide. But Valeria? Have guards present. The receiving chamber is nothing like Ironwood's great hall. It's circular, with no throne, no hierarchical arrangement. Cushions and chairs are arranged in a circle, where all voices are equal. It's where I hold counsel with the transformed wolves, where we're rebuilding pack structure from the ground up. When Mira and Aldrich enter, I barely recognize them. They're gaunt, clothes travel-worn, and there's a haunted look in their eyes. I know too well the look of outcasts. "No pack would take us," Aldrich says without preamble, his usual bluster gone. "Word spread, as you said it would. We're pariahs. 13 packs we've petitioned, all turned us away. Some threw stones," Mira adds quietly. "Called us the ones who tortured a goddess, Magnus. Tenses beside me, but I touch his hand, calming him. And now you come here?" I ask. "For transformation? Or sanctuary?" "For forgiveness," Mira says, and drops to her knees. Not the calculated submission of before, but genuine supplication. "I know I don't deserve it. I know what I did to you, what I was, is unforgivable, but I need you to know I'm sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Not because of what you are now, but because of what I was then." "Pretty words," Magnus says coldly. "Do you think apologies erase 23 years of torment?" "No," Aldrich says heavily. "Nothing can. We're not asking for the transformation. We're not worthy of that gift. We're just informing you. The rogues in the Eastern Territories are recruiting outcasts, promising them power, revenge on the packs that rejected them. Many from Ironwood have already joined them." I sit forward. "Hendrik?" "Dead," Aldrich says bluntly. "Challenged and killed by a rogue alpha last month. Others are turning feral without pack structure. We came to warn you there's an army building, of outcast, corrupted ones, and those who reject the new way. They call you the false Luna. They say you're destroying wolf nature." "And you?" I ask. "What do you say?" Mira looks up, tears streaming down her face. "I say you're the best thing that ever happened to our species. And I'm the fool who was too blind to see it." The war comes 3 weeks later, on the night of the winter solstice. They attack from all sides, hundreds of corrupted wolves, rogues, and outcasts united in their rage against the new order. Among them, I recognize faces from Ironwood, wolves who chose exile over transformation. They've been promised restoration of the old ways, the rigid hierarchies where they held power through cruelty. But they didn't account for what we've become. The transformed wolves fight differently now. Where traditional wolves rely on brute strength and dominance, the evolved ones flow like water, strike like light, connected through the cosmic web I've woven between them. They anticipate each other's moves, cover weaknesses instinctively, fight as one organism with many bodies. Magnus and I stand at the center of the Citadel's courtyard, our powers merged into a silver cosmic shield that protects our path. Through the threads, I feel every injury, every death, each one a tear in the fabric of my being. There are too many. Valeria pants, her white blonde hair red with blood. They've been recruiting for months, promising. Her words cut off as a massive wolf breaks through our defenders. I recognize the corrupted signature. It's Rex, the Ironwood warrior who suggested drowning void births. His wolf form is wrong now, twisted by corruption and rage, more monster than wolf. He charges directly at me, jaws wide, aiming for my throat. Magnus moves to intercept, but I stop him with a touch. "No, this one's mine. I don't shift, I can't, not in the traditional sense. Instead, I do what I've learned over these months. I become. The cosmic entity that rises from my human form isn't solid. It's made of starlight and void, beautiful and terrible. Rex's monstrous wolf passes right through me, and where he touches the cosmic essence, he begins to change. Not transform, purify. The corruption burns away like shadows before dawn. His monstrous form shrinks, returns to its natural wolf shape, then smaller still, until he's just a man, naked and weeping on the frozen ground, seeing clearly for the first time what he'd become. Choose, I tell him, my voice echoing with celestial harmonics. Evolution or exile, but choose as yourself, not as the monster fear made you. The battle stops. Everyone, defender and attacker alike, watches as Rex struggles to his feet. I can think again, he gasps. The rage, it's gone. He looks at me with wonder and terror. You could have killed me. I tried to kill you. Death is easy, I reply. Change is harder. Choose. He drops to his knees, but not in submission and gratitude. Transform me. Please. I want to be more than rage and fear. I touch his forehead, and light flows between us. His new wolf, when it emerges, is smaller than his old one but radiant with controlled power. Others among the attackers see this, see the choice being offered even in the midst of battle. Wait! Someone shouts from among the rogues. I choose transformation. Then another, me too. Like dominoes falling, attackers throw down their corruption and beg for transformation. Not all, some flee into the night, and some fight to the bitter end, too lost to corruption to choose anything else. But many, so many, choose change. By dawn, the battlefield has become something else, a transformation ground. Hundreds of wolves, former enemies, sit in circles as the evolved ones teach them the new ways. Magnus and I move among them, healing, transforming, rebuilding. Mira and Aldrich emerge from the citadel where they'd been sheltering with the non-combatants. Let us help, Mira says quietly. We may not be transformed, but we can tend wounds, distribute supplies. Mira, I interrupt gently. Do you truly want transformation? Not from fear or desperation, but because you genuinely want to change? She meets my eyes, and for once, there's no calculation there. Yes, I want to be better than what I was raised to be. I want to be someone who protects rather than hurts. I want to be worthy of the mercy you've shown me. I take her hand. Her transformation is more intense than others. She has more to release, more to atone for. But when it's complete, her wolf is beautiful, silver gray, with eyes like dawn. Aldrich is the last. He stands alone as the sun rises, looking older than his years. I'm too old to change, he says quietly. Too set in my ways. But I'm glad my daughter could. Glad you survived us, Thara. Glad the world gets to see what we almost destroyed. It's never too late, I tell him gently. He shakes his head. For some, it is. I'll go north, beyond packlands. Live what years I have left, knowing my daughter chose better than I taught her. I watch him leave. This broken man who once held such power over my life. I feel no satisfaction in his exile, no joy in his suffering, only sadness for the wolf he could have been. You're too merciful, Magnus says softly, his arm around my waist. No, correct. I correct, looking out at the transformed wolves, former enemies now pack. I'm exactly as merciful as the world needs me to be. The great hall of the northern citadel is warm with laughter and light. Wolves from 20 packs have gathered for the first council of the transformed, a new form of governance where every voice matters, where decisions are made in harmony rather than through dominance. I sit beside Magnus, our hands intertwined, watching Mira teach a group of young pups about the cosmic threads that connect all living things. She's become one of our most dedicated teachers, using her own journey from cruelty to kindness as a lesson for others. Sage, now my closest advisor despite her youth, brings me reports from the Eastern Territories. The corruption is fully cleansed. The last of the resistant packs, either transformed or relocated to distant territories, where they can live by the old ways without harming others. The world is changing, Magnus murmurs, his lips against my temple. Because of you. Because of us. I correct. I was just the key. You were the one brave enough to turn it. He laughs, a sound that still makes my heart skip. Do you regret it? The hard path? Power. You could have had revenge, could have destroyed everyone who hurt you. I think of the cold attic, the thin blanket, 23 years of being nothing. Then I look at what we've built, a world where no Omega is rejected, where different doesn't mean less, where power serves rather than dominates. The girl in that attic dreamed of belonging. I tell him, she never dreamed she'd help everyone belong. That's better than revenge. That's redemption. A young wolf approaches nervously one of the newly transformed from a southern pack. Luna Primordial? My pack sent me to ask, will you come to us? Teach us the new ways? I smile, remembering when no one would even speak to me. We'll come. Together. As the celebration continues around us, I feel the cosmic threads humming with contentment. The prophecy was right, the Luna Primordial did return when the world needed her most. Not as a conqueror, but as a transformer. Not to destroy the old ways, but to evolve them into something better. The Void Omega, who couldn't shift, became the catalyst for all wolves to shift into something greater. And in the warm circle of my mate's arms, surrounded by transformed wolves who once mocked me, I finally understand my grandmother's last words. Different isn't broken, little star. Different is just the universe preparing to surprise itself. The surprise, it turns out, was me all along.